afternoon. Welcome you back again. How are you doing all? Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
How are you, sir? So today we have four country reports. First one, Mr. Emma.
Uh, yes, sir. Good afternoon to all of
Good
you.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, are you ready?
Yeah. I and Arlene will be, since we are just in the same institution, we'll be just presenting one report.
Okay.
We'll be reporting both. I mean, we will just be having some one presentation for both of us.
Okay.
Okay. I think Miss Arlene, could you please share?
Yes, sir.
She will be the one to start. Thank you.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly, sir?
Yes, sir.
Alright, let me share my screen. The country report focusing on the Bicol region. So this is the fifth region in the Philippines. We decided to focus in the Bicol region because most of the energy resources were already presented by our fellow Pinoys. So let us present with my colleague Sir Ama about the Bicol region. So in the first slide, you can see there the three pictures which are um, uh, most interesting things about the Bicol region. So the first picture shows the whale shark in Donsol, Sorsogon. This is one of the most visited areas in Bicol because it offers white sand beach and you can actually interact with the whale shark. But of course, you have to follow environmental regulations. The next picture is our very own Mount Mayon. This is actually also acknowledged as the twin of Mount Fuji in Japan because similarly they have a perfect cone. However, our Mount Mayon is quite wilder because it has been erupting for 3 to 5 years and it offers some threats in the Bicol nearby. Nonetheless, Mount Mayon has helped in the tourism of Bicol. And the third picture shows our Bicol tradition, the Peña Francia Festival. You can see there our patron, Inang Peña Francia or Mother Peña Francia, the patron saint of Bicol. We celebrate Peña Francia Festival every September of the year. However, because of COVID-19, different events and celebrations were canceled and some celebrations were done online or virtually. Alright, so here's the summary of our presentation. We'll be presenting the Bicol Regional Profile, some about Bicol tourism, the energy resources that we have in Bicol, and lastly, a Bicol tour or video presentation. Alright, so here is our map highlighting the Bicol region. It comprises the southern part of Luzon and the largest island in the Philippine archipelago. The total land area is 5.9% of the total land area of the country, and around 69.3% of the total land area is alienable and disposable, while remaining 30.7% is public forest areas. More about Bicol profile. Our total land area is 18,155 square kilometers, um, or 7 million square miles. Our population as of 2020 census is about 6,082,165 and our density is 330 per square kilometers. So we have various languages here in the Bicol region. As you can see, the Philippines is an archipelago. Our province is also mostly composed of different islands. So we have different languages. But basically, the major language that is being used is Bicol. But we also have um, different quote-unquote variants for that. We have the Albayanan Bicol, we have the Rinconada Bicol, the Northern Catanduanes version of Bicol, and Southern Catanduanes. We also have Visayan languages, and if you happen to visit our region, um, you can use Filipino, no, for our fellow Filipinos, so that we can understand each other. Mostly to those who are not speaking, to those who have different Bicol language, and also most Bicolanos also know English. All right. Next, you have the protected map of our area. So the green shaded areas are those forested areas. We have 19 protected areas, and I will be showing some to you later. And we have 14 proclaimed watershed forest reserves in our region. Alright, so here are some of the protected areas in Bicol. The first one here on the upper left is the Catanduanes Natural Park. I will just focus on the biological characteristic of it. The natural forest consists of midland pterocarp forest dominated by white and red lawan, palusapis, molabe, bagtikan, apitong nara, and other hardwood species. Um, while on the upper right, we have the Chico Island Wildlife Sanctuary. This is located in Masbate area. So, in here, you can see the rich mangrove species of the area. It is also a safe haven for migratory birds. While on the lower left, you can see the Ticao Boreas Pass Protected Seascape. In here, one of the highlight in the picture is the um, globally rare megamouth shark or Megachasma pelagios. No? And lastly, our very own Mount Mayon, which has been a home for 83 species of trees, um, habitat for 104 species of land vertebrates, including 57 species of birds, 34 species of amphibians and reptiles, and 13 species of mammals. So as you can see, we have a very rich um, protected areas, and these are just examples of those protected areas. All right. In terms of economy, Bicol region has large amount of rich flatland and agriculture. Basically, most areas in the Philippines are really agricultural land, and it is followed by commercial fishing. Okay, so most of the crops that we grow here are coconuts, abaca, banana, coffee, and jackfruit. These are the five permanent crops in the region. And most of our OTOP, or what we call one town, one product, are somewhat getting products from here in our five major crops. Okay. We also grow rice and corn. Now, rice is our staple food, and we have a lot of rice fields in the Bicol region. To add to that, we also have coal mining industry in our area. Later, I'll be showing you the map on where coal mining is um, rich in our region. So next, we have also commercial fishing. Um, and that is why I became interested in the solar dryer, because some products with regards to fishing are is drying. So we also export some dried fish from here in our area. All right. When it comes to geology, Bicol region is highly volcanic. As you can see in the map, okay, we are located adjacent to the Philippine Trench. And because of that, I think that's one of the reasons why you can see the series of volcanoes formed in our region. So you can see here the gray shaded areas. These are the volcanoes and mountains located in our region. So it is known as the Bicol Volcanic Arc or Chain. The volcanoes are the results of the Philippine Sea Plate subducting under the Philippine Mobile Belt along the Philippine Trench. So next, volcanism is evident by the number of hot springs, crater lakes, and volcanoes that the region we have starting from Mount Labo in Cam Norte to the Gate Mountains in Matnog, Sorsogon. So it starts from here and until here in the Sorsogon area. Right. The coal mine industry that I was talking about a while ago was in here in Paracale, and we also have in Rapu-Rapu Islands. All right. So these are some zoom in or bigger pictures of our mountains. If you happen to visit our area, we would love to offer you the scenic views of Mount Isarog and other mountains that we have. Um, Me and Sir Ama is very close to Mount Isarog, and Sir Ama loves to trek in that area, right, Sir Ama? Okay. We also have Mount Iriga in Camarines Sur, Mount Malinao in Albay, and of course the Mount Mayon. All right. So, as what mentioned by my fellow Pinoys in their previous country reports, the tagline of the Philippines is "It's more fun in the Philippines." So in Bicol, we also use the tagline "It's more fun in Bicol." So as you can see here, um, why we can say that somehow Bicol region is also world class because we have the same some spots here that is also offered in other countries. The first one is the Mount Mayon, which is somewhat the same with Mount Fuji. We also have the Calaguas Cam Norte, which is compared to Barbados Caribbean. We also have Caramoan Cam Sur, um, which is equated or compared to Maya Beach in Thailand. Next, we have the Catanduanes Island, which is known for surfing activities. Just like Hawaiian Islands, we have Masbate, wherein you can experience the Rodeo Festival. And lastly, the one that I mentioned a while ago, the Tunsol Sorsogon. Alright, I think this is my last slide, and I will be turning over the floor to Sir Ama. The picture in the upper left shows again our Peña Francia Festival. We have a lot of festivals here in the Bicol region, but these are but examples. Next, we have the Mayon Festival in Albay, then the Rodeo Festival in Masbate, and lastly, the Ibalong Festival in Camarines Sur. Right. To know more about our region, we will be showing you a video presentation, but it will be presented in the last part of our presentation. Sir Ama?
Thank you very much, Miss Arlene, for that wonderful presentation. Of course, it's already my turn. Next, please. So currently, I will be just give some info about the energy resources in the Philippines. Sorry, especially in Bicol, because lots of my colleagues in the Philippines have already discussed the energy resources in the whole Philippines. Say, for instance, Mr. John Paul discussed already the geothermal energy in the whole Philippines and other colleagues. So I will just be presenting to you some of the power plants or existing power plants that is located in the Bicol region. So we have here the thermal biomass and hydroelectric power plants. So as having mentioned, Tiwi geothermal power plant was the first power plant that was built in the whole Philippines. It is located in Tiwi Albay, and if you would notice, it has been commissioned in January 1979. So currently, uh, it is the capacity of the TV geothermal power plant installed is 234 megawatts. So they are still planning to install more. So we have also have here the Bachman, and that is also another power plant that we will be You will be seeing more. We have also biomass that is found in Pili Camarines Sur. We have also the mini hydroelectric plants in Buhi Camarines Sur. And currently in our place in Naga City, we also have this mini or micro hydroelectric power plant that can generate at least 1 megawatt. It is already useful that was installed in 1998. Next, please. So these power plants are connected in the national grid corporation in our national grid. Actually, that power plant that was placed in Bicol region has been supporting Metro Manila since it was installed and until now. So the engineering of which is somewhat made to supply Metro Manila. So that is why if you would know the cost of energy or electrical energy in our place is much higher than in Metro Manila because the construction of which is just to support Manila. However, in the future, they are planning to re-engineer the grid so that we could have our own supply of energy so that we would have a lesser cost. I mean, yeah. So you are seeing here in the map the thermal service contract. So the Bacon Manito Bacon Manito that is located in Sorsogon Albay. We have also the Kiwi Albay, the first one, and they're already planning here the Mount Labo. This is a potential source of another geothermal power. Of course, there are a lot of other source of geothermal energy in the whole Philippines. Next, please. You are seeing here the Bachman Thermal Power Plant. So it is currently managed by EDC, a private company. It is uh, the Bacon Manito thermal field is situated in the Pokdol volcanic ridge in the southeastern Luzon, midway of the active volcanoes Mayon and Bilisan. So remember, our region is placed in the ring of fire. So we have series of volcanoes here. We call that as volcanic arcs. So this is called the Bicol Arc. So that is the northwest trending chain of late tertiary quaternary eruptive centers associated with the subduction of the Philippine Sea plate. Yeah, if you're studying geology, the Philippines has somewhat rise up due to the subduction of the Philippine Sea plate that is in the Philippine Sea. So it is pushing. So I forgot the oscillation if I am correct. They are pushing each other. So that is why the Philippine rise up. So of course, because of the subduction, um, volcanoes will form, and because of these volcanoes, the Philippine Islands also form. So this Bachman has 110 megawatt uh, power in the Bachman 1, and in the
Labo.
Palayang Bayan we have also 20 megawatt Bachman 2 power plant in
Hello?
Kawayan, and the 20 megawatt Bachman 2 Kotor power plant. So
Bo.
these are series of power plants because
Watch this.
the
Watch
let
this.
me say the
Watch it.
system of this uh, geothermal thingy is not just can be found in just one place. So it is just like roots. They are having this system. Next, please. So another one is the most popular TV geothermal power plant. This is the first, and this is now currently the third largest geothermal facility in the Philippines with 275 megawatts installed generating capacity. So it has been commercially operating since 1979 and until 2002 in Tiwi and in the Makiliban. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, next please. So we have also this Bicol Biomass Energy Corporation. They try to generate at least uh, um, shall we say a nice amount of energy. So it is a 5 megawatt capacity power plant that is placed in Pili because this is a rice husk fired cogeneration plant. Uh, Remember, our region is also producing rice, so there are a lot of biomass or yeah, biomass products that can be reused for this biomass energy power plant. Next, please. And now we have here some pictures of the hydropower. They are just these are just mini power plant and micro power plant that has been, shall we say, experimentally placed in our region because at least to supply the community in the community. So we have here the Buhi Barikog watershed. So this is a run of river type hydroelectric power plant. So it produces 1.8 megawatt hour. So it is located in the so it started since 1957. Next, please. In our place, we don't have picture the Inarihan hydroelectric power plant. This is a very small. We call this as micro hydroelectric power plant because it only produces 960 kilowatt power. It is located in the Paniquasanaga City. In reality, this place is also used for tourism because um, this remember that it is part of the Mount Isagog National Park on which we have pristine water and very clean water that you can even drink the water from the river until now. So next, please. So there is this update. I think Miss Arlene will be the one to say something about this. Go ahead, Miss Arlene.
All right. So, sorry. All right. We would just like to share this some um, inputs about the status of energy supply during the COVID-19 pandemic. So may I just read this one? I was able to get this article just this morning. So it says here that following the outbreak of COVID-19, the island of Luzon and major cities in the Philippines were placed under ECQ, and the result of that was a drop in the demand of energy by 30%. Uh, and because of that, there were also because of the energy drop or the drop in the energy demand, there were also some um, shutdowns that happened in some areas. Okay, 10% of the fuel retailers or gasoline stations were shut down. 40% of LPG dealers and outlets were also forced to close down. And also some um, gasoline providers were also threatened to shut down because of the drop in the demand of energy. In the late April 2020, the DOE Secretary Alfonso assured that the sufficiency of the country's power supply throughout the pandemic will be sustainable, maybe because nga of the drop in the demand. Um, However, there are also some the construction of several critical energy projects have also been delayed because of the ECQ. But however, um, right now, some areas in the Philippines has lifted the ECQ, so perhaps these problems will be already addressed. All right. So I think that's all for that, Sir Ama.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Arlene. Uh, in the next slide, if you would notice, most of my colleagues have been mentioning about networking. So what are we doing? At least we will be sharing something about what I am doing currently, so that if in case you want to have some collaboration, um, you can just email me if in case you want to work with me, if in case we would have the same activities in doing research. So currently, actually, I am doing research on photonics and optical engineering. So you would notice that it is very much far from energy, but as I could remember, there are also researchers in terms of photonics that could help in energy harnessing activities. So just like earlier discussion, the nanotechnology is already used in producing energy. So I am doing um, optical engineering here. So we are using uh, polymers. Try to next slide please. Try to modify the laser for communication. So I am doing actually in communications. So we try to modify lasers. So you are seeing me there doing some. I have just a little very. I am just having a very small small laboratory with optical materials and devices. So in my in supposedly one of my publications, which was has been a cover of a journal. We are trying to modify epicelvine here. So it is a laser type of laser beam that is non-diffracting because remember in communications we do not just use one highway but we try to use multiple highways, called that a super highways to transmit message. That is why if you would have a faster internet connection, it does mean if they are using more highways or bandwidth to deliver messages, or we call that signals or wave packets. Next, please. So why is it that I am still engaged in doing in engage in energy? Because that was my first love. Um, in my earliest work, with the with the help of my students, actually I have been a high school teacher um, for that time because I do much enjoy teaching younger people to do research work than older people. I do not know why I was that like that. So in that slide, I have here high school student. We are constructing already a organic solar cells there. Um, we are in our place. We don't have the capacity to test that. That is why we are going to some places in popular and of course high-end universities in Manila. Say for instance in the condensed matter laboratory of the University of the Philippines because you know I have lots of colleagues there, and also in Ateneo de Manila we are doing some spectrometric measurements there. So because I studied in Ateneo, and this was the before that we are also doing concentrated solar power before we learn those organic solar cells and because before those materials. Next slide, please. Uh-huh. So some of my students were actually these were my students before after I left because I have my PhD lately. Some of my students continued their work, so I was not anymore their advisor. I mean their coach, but I'm still advising them. So I am very happy that my students in that time joined the International Intel Science Fair. You know that is a very popular in 2018. So they won second place in the energy and physical category. So those solar cells somewhat is modified to create a very unique technique of uh, tracking the sunlight, and it was somewhat very neat for them because it is very portable and it is easily constructed. They have just used a simple technique in sensing the sunlight, and one of the somewhat notable to that invention is that it is foldable. So it is just like the Japanese origami. It is foldable that if there's no sunlight, it will fold itself so that it would lessen the damage. So for that many purposes. So these are my students. Currently, they are still working with me. Please, next slide, please. Um, Next slide, please. So currently, some of my students there, actually the three of them we are currently working in Same, we are trying to produce a solar cell, but with additional techniques. So currently we are doing lithography, so in producing nano size graphene. So if you will know that, so we are using a different techniques to produce graphene, and also different techniques in producing in uh, making a plain, coating of titanium dioxide and many more, and with some technologies that I cannot yet mention because we are still in developing those. So next slide, please. Yeah, that's all. If you are interested to, especially in my colleagues in the Philippines, because we are just near each other, you can just email me. I already posted my email. Next, please, Arlene. We have now the video presentation for ending our presentation.
Arlene, please share again because we cannot hear the audio.
Is it audible, sir?
No, no,
Is
no.
it audible po? Hello?
Yeah.
No, no. You can
Ano?
please share it. Yeah,
Reshare, yeah.
Wait.
please reshare it.
Oh, wait. How do I share this? About that?
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Yes.
Stunning mountains.
Yes.
Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified of
How about that po?
Yeah, now okay. And Arlene, please mute your microphone. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Since Camarines Sur is the largest among the 6 provinces in the Bicol region, there is no doubt that the place has countless of beautiful tourist destinations. This is home to some of the most beautiful beaches, waterfalls, historical churches and stunning mountains. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified of our next video. Here's a look at some of the exciting activities you can do and great places you can visit around Camarines Sur.
Let me see.
Camsur Water Sports Complex is a 6-hectare water sports park in Pili, Camarines Sur. This is absolutely a must-try when visiting Camarines Sur. Besides wakeboarding, wake skating and water skiing, there are also great pools to swim and cottages to sleep over after a tiring day. The place is awesome, plus you can also enjoy the breathtaking view of the gorgeous Mount Isarat. This is certainly an exciting attraction in Camarines Sur. The falls is located in Bula and has an approximate height of 60 feet. Now a lot of falls has cool and turquoise waters, and at both sides of the falls are caves that you can explore. The place is perfect for tourists who loves nature and adventure. The Lake Buhi in Camarines Sur lies in the valley formed by 2 ancient volcanoes, Mount Asig and Mount Malinao. The place is quiet and still unspoiled, which makes it a good place to relax and observe small town life in the Philippines. Porta Mary is a commemorative arch built to celebrate the 300 years of the devotion to Our Lady of Penafrancia. This is located just in front of the Naga Metropolitan Cathedral and has gained its popularity for its beauty. Having it built near Naga Metropolitan Cathedral also complements the church well. This Roman Catholic church in the city of Naga is a great attraction for historical lovers. Naga Metropolitan Cathedral is one of the oldest in the country with the original architecture still intact. You'll be amazed by the architecture and facade of this cathedral. It's certainly a must-see when in Naga for those interested in history, culture and religion. Peña Peñafrancia Basilica is a Roman Catholic minor basilica in Naga, Camarines Sur, and it's considered as one of the largest Marian pilgrimage sites in Asia. The place is clean, quiet and serene. It's a solemn place to find solace and peace. Peñafrancia Basilica is another must-visit destination when in Naga. Mount Isarog is Bicol's second highest volcano. Hiking on this beautiful mountain may take about 8 to 10 hours. But once you've arrived at the summit, you'll get amazing views of Camarines Sur. The climb is pretty challenging, and you need to be in good physical condition, but the experience will absolutely be unforgettable. Mount Isarog National Park is a must-see place for local and international tourists. Located at the foot of Mount Isarog, Panikwasan Hot Spring Resort and Nature Adventure Park is another fantastic attraction to visit while in the city. The resort features several hot spring pools with different temperatures and other exciting activities, such as wall climbing, Tarzan swing and zipline. When visiting Mount Isarog, Malabsai Falls is something you should also not miss. This 40-feet beauty is one of the best spots in Camarines Sur. The track is not too far, and many tourists considers Malabsai Falls as the main attraction around the area. Karamoan Islands is a group of islands located on the lower eastern part of Camarines Sur. This is the perfect island hopping getaway that offers several unforgettable adventures like snorkeling, scuba diving, rock climbing, caving and swimming through its pristine blue waters, and fantastic white sand beaches. You'll absolutely be surprised with the amazing activities you can do in this exotic island. Karamoan Islands is another extraordinary place to add on your bucket list. What do you think about this beautiful province of Camarines Sur? Tell us on the comments below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. That's all, I think.
Thank you so much, Miss Erlin and Sir Emma, for your wonderful presentation. And Sir Emma, we may make collaboration in future because your topic and my topic is close, very close. We can work
sir.
in future, sir. And anyone has any question? Are there any question from audience or any compliment?
Hello everyone.
Hello,
Great
Christine.
job on the presentation, and I definitely adding another place on my bucket list. One question I have, two questions. The first one is in terms of environmental disasters. It looks like you are like it's a group of islands, so I'm making an assumption like similar to my country in Guyana. A lot of persons are affected by flooding, and you might be concerned about sea level rise in terms of climate change. That's my first question. And the second is in terms of the government, what are their perception of developing in like a green, sustainable way?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Christine. Yeah, you are very welcome when you ever wish to come here in our region. We can just sponsor your topic presentation. Thank you for that. Now, may I answer your question about the what is our level of resiliency in the Philippines, especially in the Bicol region? In reality, Bicol region is the most is frequented by typhoon more than other parts of the Philippines. So generally, our people are already adjusted to the many typhoons that usually visit the Philippines because we are already in the eastern part, and on the average of the 19 typhoons, now we have already addition up to 26 typhoons, I think, if I am not mistaken. Most of them are entering our region. That is why we have difficulty in producing more agricultural products because suddenly, if there's a typhoon, all of our plantations are devastated. So generally, we already adapted on that case. However, since the entire Philippines now is already somewhat affected by typhoons, because just like the southern Philippines part, the Davao region, are not in earlier times they are not visited by typhoon. So currently they are somewhat shocked on how to adapt on that case. But in our case, we were adapting since we were born because we are already used to those typhoons. So the government has been making some programs for our evacuations, and of course the usual drainage systems, uh, dredgings, and other things that, in fact, our one of the governors in our region has been, I can remember, has been awarded to make a very nice program to make our people resilient from not only typhoon but also volcanic eruption. Remember, in parts of Albay, we had there the Mayon volcano. That is an active volcano. Of course, it is a curse and a blessing. It is a blessing because a lot of tourist people, when Mayon volcano is erupting, they are uh, going to Albay because just to observe and to appreciate the eruption, because it is not when it erupts, it is not very much drastic. So usually they just watch it. And there's also a course because if Mayon volcano does not erupt for some time, it is very difficult to tickle a sleeping giant for that case. So currently in our region, we have already programs for adapting the climate change because, as I have mentioned, just to summarize, we are already frequented by those typhoons. So it is somewhat not new to us it is just very new to the southern people in the southern part of the Philippines. I suppose did I answer your question, Christine?
Yes, you did. You answered it. I guess one other follow up would be, I know you said that it's like a you're used to it as a people because of your location, but my I guess a follow up would be because of climate change, is it becoming more frequent like the typhoon and so forth? Is it becoming like more stronger, more harder to deal with?
Uh-huh. Um, Based on the record, we don't have yet strongest typhoon when the climate change thingy has been popular. In reality, the strongest typhoon, if I could still remember, was in 1995 or 1994. So there's no yet the concept of climate change there. The second one is in 1969, if I could still remember. So currently, we don't have yet the strongest typhoon, more than the typhoon that enters our place. But there were stronger typhoons like the Typhoon Haiyan, but it did not pass through our place. It just affected the lower part, the Samar, and the back, uh, one of the cities I forgot in Samar, Leyte, thingy. So in our place, it is not new, but in the southern belt, it's somewhat new to them. For the record, we don't have a much stronger typhoon, more than the typhoons that already struck the Philippines. Yeah, in our region, the Bicol region. So maybe in places of Emily, or yeah, they have already experienced the strongest typhoon, the Typhoon Haiyan, that killed a lot of people there in their cities. Yeah, thank you for that, Christine.
Thank you.
Hi, hello. Um, hello, sir. I just would like to add, because Miss Christine and Sir Ama were discussing about the resilience of the people during typhoons. We must not forget the contribution of, aside from the projects of the government, I think we must not forget the contribution of the non-government organizations who are coming in our country, who gives much contribution on the resilience of the people. Aside from that, we also have other organizations coming from the different parts of the world. We have from Korea, from Japan, and other from the United States who are coming in to help the resilience of the people in the Philippines.
Thank you, Christine, Arlene, and Sir Emma. Thank you so much. And are there any question from others? Okay, so today we have another country report, another two. So second, Mendezer. Am I right?
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. Please, sir.
Okay, so I will just share my screen.
Yes, sir. You can.
Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I am also from the Philippines, just like
Wow.
the other presenters a while back. And I'm going to present about our region since there are many participants here coming from the Philippines. So I also decided to have a report about my region. So it's not really a country report, but it's more like a regional report of our region. Okay, so I failed to introduce myself the very first time that we met because my internet connection is really poor and really slow. So I just wanted to introduce myself first. My name is Rodley M. Mendihar, and I am a college instructor, also a high school teacher in State University here in Philippines in La Union. So I've been in the teaching industry for the last 5 years. Last 2016, I graduated last 2016 with my degree in biology education. Anyway, um, since most of my co-Filipinos are already introduced about the Philippines, I will just summarize what they have mentioned. Okay, so the total land area of the Philippines is 300,000 square kilometers, and there are 7,641 islands here in the Philippines already. That is according to the National Mapping and Resource Information. So the general information is actually 7,107, but it already increased to 7,641. If I'm not mistaken, this was given for the last 5 years. The total population of the Philippines as of August 8, 2020 is already 109 million. And the Philippines is also considered one of the 18 mega-diverse countries in the world, meaning that it harbors the majority of Earth species and high numbers of endemic species. In relation to this, the Philippines is considered to be a biological hotspot. Okay, meaning that most of the endemic species here in the Philippines is threatened by human activities and human habitats already. So it's not really a good one, but the good thing is that it is part of the only 18 mega-diverse countries in the world. Of course, just like what I told you a while ago, I will not be reporting about the Philippines because most of my co-Philippines already reported about there. So I will just have my report on my region. Actually, I am situated here on this green part of the map, and this is Region 1. This is Region 1, or also known as the Ilocos region, which is highlighted in the blue part of this map in the Philippines. Of course, the Philippines is part of Southeast Asia. And just some facts about our region. The Region 1, or the Ilocos region, is located in the northwest of Luzon, and to the west-north is the West Philippine Sea. And the region is composed of 4 provinces, namely Ilocos Norte, which is in there in yellow, Ilocos Sur in pink, La Union, this one, and Pangasinan in green. I am actually part of this province in Pangasinan. Anyway, the total population of our region is already it's 5 million as of August 2015, and the total land area is 1.2 hectares. There are different dialects spoken here in our region, which composed of Iloco, Pangasinan, English, Tagalog, and Binobolinaw. I actually know 4 of it, the Iloco, Pangasinan, English, and Tagalog. I just don't know the other one. I'm not really familiar with it. Okay. Anyway, in terms of the economy of our region, of course, just like what other presenters told already, the Philippines is an agricultural country. Of course, there are 3 main sources of income here in the Philippines. We have the farming, aquaculture, and livestock. In farming, we also have our rice, we have our corn, we have our peanuts, we have our sugarcane, and so on. Aside from farming of crops, we also have the aquaculture. Of course, the Region 1 is found very near to the West Philippine Sea, so basically, most of our agriculture is under the aquaculture, and of course for the raising of livestock. Okay. We also have our own tourism. This is one of our biggest contributors in our economy. We have different tourist spots here in our region. Already pinned the exact location of every tourist spot that you see in your screen right now. This is the uh, vegan ancestral houses found in Ilocos Sur. This is the Pangadan Falls found in La Union. This is the Bangi windmills found in Region 1, which will be discussed later on because this is one of the sources of energy here in our region. And also known, and aside from that, we also have the Hundred Islands. It is called Hundred Islands because in a single place here in our region, you can already find 100 plus islands. Okay, so fun fact, out of 7,641 islands here in the Philippines, only in a single location you can already found 124 islands, and that is known as the 100 Islands here in Pangasinan, which is my province. I am actually in here, so I just wanted to pinpoint I am here. So that's 100 Islands. That's almost 5 hours drive from my hometown. Okay, so this is the climate of our region or the Ilocos. In the Philippines, since it is located in a tropical region, it is generally characterized by a uniformly warm temperature, high humidity, and abundant rainfall. Okay, the seasons in the Philippines can be divided into two. We have the rainy season and dry season, but the dry season is still further divided into cool dry season and hot dry season. And if you're going to observe, the data that I told you supports the information that is being shown in your screen right now. The highest or the maximum temperature is found during the months of March, April, May, which is the hot dry season here in the Philippines. And the lowest temperature is recorded during the months of December to January to February, which is considered also to be the cool dry season here in the Philippines. Okay, so again, this is only the climate of our region. Okay, so I'm already done with our economy. I just wanted to show you some of the sources of energy here in our region. Okay, we have two hydroelectric power plants here. We have the San Roque Hydroelectric Multipurpose Power Project, which has a capacity of 345 megawatts, which powers the Pangasinan province here in Region 1. And we also have one mini hydroelectric power plant in Agua Grande, which has a capacity of 4.5 megawatts. The San Roque is multi-purpose because it is not only a source of electricity, but it is also used for water storage, if I'm not mistaken, and for water for the agricultural purposes and water quality and so on. In total, we have 349.5 or almost 350 megawatts of hydroelectric only in our region. Aside from hydro, we also harness the energy from the wind. As you can see, we have four of them. We have the Burgos Wind Farm, the Bangi Wind Farm, the Caparispisan Wind Farm, and the Balawi and Kaunayan Wind Farm. The very famous here in the Philippines which was also mentioned by some of our colleagues, of some of the Filipinos living in Mindanao, is the Bangi Wind Farm. This is very famous because aside from our source of electricity, it also became one of the tourist spots here in our region. In totality, we have a 424 megawatts wind energy capacity. But anyway, the last one is still under construction. It is found in Ilocos Norte. Aside from wind, we also have our own solar farm, which is also found in Burgos. As you can observe, there's still again the Burgos place because it is also the place where the very first engineer, this one, the Burgos Wind Farm, they have their own wind farm, they have their own solar farm, which has a capacity of 6.8 megawatts. So this is actually the exact picture of the Burgos solar farm found in our region. Okay, though there are already some houses in here that is doing the private installation of their own solar panels in their own home. So personally, I also wanted to have one in my own house, but it's just too expensive for now, so I cannot afford it. So maybe I am just still on the process of saving my money for the installation of a solar panel in our home. Aside from this one, we also harness energy from biomass. These are the two common sources of energy. In terms of biomass here in our region only, we have the rice house or rice husks, which was already discussed a while ago by the other presenters. And we also have our NIPA or NIPA providence. This is a plant that is mostly that grows in aquatic places. Okay, so we use this. NIPA is mostly here used for biofuel, and rice house used for cooking our food and other uses. And I just wanted to show. Sorry, this is the coal. This is of course the main source of energy here in our region. It has a capacity of 1,200 megawatts. It is found in Swal Power Station. And I just wanted to show you some of the um, news about our region, about the installation of more renewable sources of energy. They are starting to build a 74 megawatt solar farm here in our region, a wind farm, a green power plant, a hydroelectric plant, here a biomass power plant, which they will be using the rice house or the rice house that I told you a while ago, and another hydroelectric. So basically, our government, and of course, it's like what I forgot to say that about the NGOs, that they are doing their very best to, of course, to comply with the national law about the renewable sources of energy here in the Philippines. And I just want to show you this one. This is the generation by region and the generation by energy sources. This is from the Department of Energy Power Station last 2014. Of course, it is not already updated, but based on this graph, the Luzon generate the highest percentage of energy here in the Philippines, and followed by Visayas and Mindanao. Of course, this is 2014. I don't know the update already. And here we can see that the coal still is the highest generation by energy source here in the Philippines, followed by the natural gas and geothermal and other sources of energy. So even though we have many plants on the renewable ones here in the Philippines or in our region, it is not yet enough to supply everyone, and of course we will use the coal. These are some of the environmental laws which were already presented during the presentation of other Filipinos about the Philippines. I only compiled 6 of them: the Republic Act 9136 about the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of sorry. Okay, so we also have the Republic Act number 9367 or the Biofuels Act of 2006, the Republic Act 9513 or the Renewable Energy Act of 2008, the Republic Act 9729 or the Climate Change Act of 2009, the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System or 1586, and the Republic Act 9512 on the environmental awareness. Of course, I am a teacher. Okay, so I am a teacher. Just last semester, I just taught environmental education, so I was very happy back then. And these are the specific discussion on the different Republic Acts of the Philippines that has something to do with energy and environmental concerns. And in addition to those that were already presented, of course, as a teacher, my main concern is on the RA 9512 or the Environmental Awareness and Education Act of 2008. This is an act to promote environmental awareness through environmental education and covers the integration of environmental education in the school curriculum at all levels, be it public or private, including daycare, preschool, non-formal, technical, and so on. So I've been in the teaching industry for 5 years, and also I taught in a public school. I know how hard it is really to encourage our students to be aware about our environment, of course, because of many factors. But anyway, the teachers, all of the educators are trying their very best to, of course, incorporate the environmental awareness on their own curriculum. inside and outside our school. These are all creations of my students. These are all created by, if I'm not mistaken, grade 7 students or the elementary students. These are all infographics about the different um, sources of energy made by them, posted on their social media for information dissemination. This is a bulletin board created by my students using recyclable materials, and this is us. I am that one, the man in yellow in there. Okay, what we're holding is what we call the eco brick. Okay, this is actually a plastic bottle with shredded plastics inside of it, and we are submitting this um, things in Manila, and they are using this one as a substitute for hollow blocks. We've already seen the products of their project, and we are very much interested. That's why we help them to create EcoBrick. Okay, so we have many things that we've been doing inside our classroom, but I just don't have some of the um, pictures of them. We also do our annual tree planting. We also have our annual um, cleanup drive in DCs and everywhere here in our region, but I don't have the pictures, so I cannot show them to you. But anyway, just like promised, we are doing our very best, of course, to spread the awareness on our environment and, of course, to encourage our students to take care of their environment. This is a creation of my students. This is their environmental advocacy, and I just want to show you this one. These are all my students. Okay, that's their uniform. I just wanted to show you their own environmental advocacy. I don't know if you can hear it.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Can you hear it, sir?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. Sorry. This was created by my students, so I am just proud to let you see it all. I will just do the fast forward. There's an app before this actually.
Please volume up.
Oh, sorry. So, I don't know if it will be controlled by this one.
You, and click, sir. Just play. Yeah. Volume. Yes.
Sorry, I cannot control it.
Okay, sir. Your internet connection may be not stable. Your internet connection may be not stable.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's raining. It hasn't dumped right now here. Sorry. So,
It's okay, sir. No problem. Sir, could you show me the title of the video? Then I may help you share. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, this one, the what to reap is what to sow.
Yes, wait.
That's the title of the video.
What do you?
Uh,
Sure, okay. Could you, sir, I couldn't find that video.
If you want to sell online,
yes, sir. Sir, I will just
sure
share
you
the link.
stand out.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. Please, please, please share the link. Then I can help to play.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, the link is actually in here at the bottom. So I will just send it later if you wanted to watch it. But this is the creation of my students. They act at the first part and at the end. They created their own environmental advocacy. So I just wanted to show you this one because it's really a good product of our students who are taking education here in our state university. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for listening and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation.
I don't know how to.
Stop. Just stop share.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you very much.
So, are there any question or any compliment for Mandej or? Christine. Any comments? So especially, sir, in your island, actually, the main source of power are from coal, right?
Yes, sir.
But you are trying to implement the other like renewable energy sources.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you so much, sir. And we have another one, Charles. Charles. So, do you have any idea about the Aral Sea? Do you know anyone about the Aral Sea in Kazakhstan? Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, do you have any idea about Aral Sea in Kazakhstan?
Oh, sorry, sir. I don't have any idea of it.
Okay, sir. Just 2 days before I watched that one documentary, so I would like to share with you the effect of climate change.
Yes, sir. Please. Thank you.
The Aral Sea continues to be a paradigm of the errors that trigger an environmental disaster with terrible
Can you see my
humanitarian-
screen? Sir, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
consequences. Recovery plans have provided some results, but the full recovery of the large Asian lake is far from being accomplished.
the 1950s, the Aral Sea was the fourth largest sea on Earth with 67,300 kilometers square, behind the Caspian Sea, Lake Superior and Lake Victoria. It was particularly rich in fish. It supplied 1/6 of all the fish consumed in the Soviet Union, and its canneries exported their products worldwide. The two countries sharing its coastline, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, belonged at the time to the Soviet Union. The vast steppes surrounding the lake gave the government the idea to massively develop agriculture, especially cotton farming. This was a land that was hardly suitable for these crops, as it was very arid and lacked hydraulic infrastructures for irrigation. For this reason, Soviet engineers planned to use the water of the main rivers that flowed into the Aral Sea, especially the Amur area and the Sergeria. The project fostered an immense infrastructure plan based on the construction, in 1960, of a 500 kilometers long channel that would take 1/3 of the water in the rivers to flood rice fields and irrigate cotton fields, one of the crops that require more water. Erroneous calculations, poor maintenance, and inefficient irrigation systems caused a constant increase in the amount of water withdrawn from rives and aquifers. At the beginning of the 1980s, when engineers realized that the amount of water reaching the lake was only 10% of the water flow in 1960, it was too late. Most of the surface had dried out and the rest was experiencing an accelerated disappearance process. In 1989, the large water body split in two, leaving one water mass to the north and another to the south, which were called North Aral Sea and South Aral Sea. In 2009, the lake had already lost half of its original surface, equivalent to the island of Ireland, and its volume had been reduced to a quarter. 95% of nearby reservoirs and wetlands had become deserts in more than 50
สวัสดีผู้เล่นบอลแลนด์ทุกท่าน
lakes of the deltas, the most fertile areas, with a surface of 60,000 hectares, had dried out. The situation has changed very little nowadays. In order to contain the salinity, the extraction of groundwater was increased, decreasing the level of aquifers from 53 to 36 meters. Human consumption was affected. Large sectors of the population ended up having no access to drinking water, and the water that remained was highly polluted by fertilizers and pesticides used in cotton farming. Fishing was ruined. The Aralsk harbor lost its water in 1970, and its inhabitants saw the sea move away day by day. The ships were stranded in a desert of salty sand, an image that became an icon of the disaster. The Aral Sea lost its capacity to regulate the climate. Winters and summers became harsher, and dust storms started affecting coastal regions, dragging the salt to the former seabed. The consequences on the health of the population were dramatic. Diseases such as lymphatic, liver and throat cancer, anemia, chronic bronchitis, tuberculosis, typhoid fever, hepatitis and asthma shot up. Child mortality reached a rate of 7.5 per 100. More than half of these children died of respiratory diseases due to the salt and minerals existing in the dust they breathed. Salt storms and the decrease of aquifers wiped out 40% of the vegetation in the surrounding lands, and subsistence farming was no longer possible. Salt and dust traveled much further, up to 200 kilometers, reaching large farming areas in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and other countries, reducing agricultural productivity. Salt also reached the peaks of the mountains of Kyrgyzstan, causing the melting of glaciers, which had already started due to climate change. Recovering the entire ancient water body requires the cooperation of all countries whose rivers feed it. The poor political relationship between many of them has been an insurmountable obstacle to structure a project with the minimum conditions to succeed. Attempts to recover the Aral Sea started in 1996, when a dam was built to retain water from the Sergeria, the river that flows into the north of the Aral Sea, to regulate the water level in this area of the lake and irrigate the surrounding land. The idea was to sacrifice the South Aral Sea to save the North Aral Sea, but the dam, built rudimentary with sand, mud and sticks, broke a few years later. Another 13 kilometers long dam was built in 2004, as well as several hydraulic installations on the river that were financed by the World Bank. The North Aral Sea increased its level by 4 meters in only 6 months, increasing its size in 1/3 in 1 year and recovering part of its aquatic fauna. The most hopeful thing was to see that some of the water started timidly flowing towards the South Aral Sea. The recovery of the northern part of the lake has been favored by nature itself, which has reversed the negative loop of evaporation. Water decreases to a certain volume with high salinity, slowing evaporation and stabilizing the process. Water, once 50 kilometers from the city of Arolsi, is now only 15 kilometers away. The recovery of the lake is still far away, but there are already symptoms that show it is underway. Fishing is reawakening in the North Aral Sea and farming is becoming easier. Healthiness has greatly improved, and anemia has decreased by 65% due to improved nutrition. However, experts alert that full recovery continues to be extremely difficult, as many of the factors that triggered the disaster still exist. The South Aral Sea continues to lack short-term solutions, and the climate crisis threatens with more droughts. The disappearance of the Aral Sea is a tragedy that has fortunately transcended national and international borders in the last few years. The United Nations Development Program, UNDP, fostered an international conference on joint actions to alleviate the consequences of the Aral disaster, new approaches, innovative solutions, investments in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan. At this meeting, a multidisciplinary team of experts presented different ideas to attract investments and technologies to the region and to propose the best practical solutions for the government of Uzbekistan. The president of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, presented the idea of transforming the sea into an area for environmental innovation and technologies. During what has been a true summit of heads of state to create an international fund to recover the sea, the president has called for common efforts to attract international investments with the aim of developing environmentally friendly technologies, implementing a green economy, and achieving the saving of energy and water. In the midst of fighting the climate crisis, we need to learn from one of the most severe environmental disasters caused by human activities. The environmental, climatic, economic, and humanitarian consequences derived from the poor management of water are the worst menace for the global ecosystem and for the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goal 6. The Aral Sea case should be included in all school programs.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your attention. Actually, this is the great example of poor leadership.
I'm pretty certain
Welcome
that we have all...
everyone to Salesforce Live Asia.
As we continue to navigate 20...
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, what do you think about that?
Yeah, this is Ama. Actually, I already heard that about Aral because when I was in elementary, I keep on studying the different capillaries in the whole world, including the Caspian. So, but however, I have just read that thing lately about what is happening on Aral. Actually, as I could see there, it's not just nothing on climate change, but also, yeah, as you mentioned earlier, it is a poor government policy because they just want to just get money to those plantation of cotton that is very water consuming plant. So that is the difficulty if you are just caring for the money that you will be getting rather than possible effects that will happen in the future. saddening that it happened to Alex. I hope in the future they could already resolve that. And in the later part of the video, they have he has mentioned about including the RLC in the curriculum or in school. So I think I should be adding that to because I'm also a teacher. I should be adding that to my lesson so that people will be aware that the possibilities of and other great disasters that will happen in the future. They're gonna be aware or do some mitigation. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Actually, this is a great example for us. This is a signal for us. It could be happen with us also. If we not care about our country or our environment, so it could be happening in future also in our country. So yeah, I believe that all of you we will take initiative and we'll think about our environment. Yeah. And any opinion from audience? Okay, thank you so much, sir, for joining with us today, and see you tomorrow, and stay safe. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir.
Thank you,
Stay
sir.
safe.
See you.
Goodbye.